interview question. Tell me about a time that you were part of a dysfunctional team. So this is basically the team question, right? And is all about your team skills and your ability to be part of a team and or lead a team. So the question might come at you slightly differently. Tell me about a time you were part of a team effort that failed. Tell me about a time that you were part of a challenging team situation. But essentially around working on a team and the challenges of that. So this is a behavioral question. Tell me about a time, that format, which means use the SAR framework, situation, action, result. Set the situation up quickly. The great thing about the team question is you really can use examples from any part of your life. You can certainly use a work-related example, but I think if you are at school currently, if you are in an MBA program or the equivalent, you're being part of teams and teamwork and achieving objectives through teams is a huge part of your experience. So feel free to use a team example from school. You could also use a team example from your community, a volunteer activity. I think there's a chance to sort of almost do a non-work example and bring some light and brightness to your interview. So with that, some of the things that you want to cover in that action part, right? This is where you want to spend a majority of your answer, a majority of your time. And as per usual, highlight 3 very clear actions that you took to get this team back on track. So some examples of things you can talk about. Number 1, you realized that roles were mismatched within this team, and that's what was leading to a lot of ineffectiveness. So in other words, the guy who was supposed to be good at numbers and Excel has been tasked with the writing part, whereas the person who's actually really creative and good at writing has somehow been given some data crunching assignment within the team. So just the sort of recognition that there was a mismatch between what folks were doing versus their natural skill sets, and you were able to somehow kind of reorganize the tasks of the team. Another thing that you might have done is usually with teams is that there might be 1 or 2 people who are not contributing, and they're just kind of lagging behind, and conversely there might be another team person who's kind of jumping in there and really kind of doing too much. So with the former group, you want to say something along the lines of that you were kind of able to sit down with them quietly, just one-on-one, grab coffee, and try and understand why this lack of motivation or just not being interested, and being able to somehow motivate this individual or individuals into making a larger contribution. Conversely, with the person who's getting in there and taking control and being a little bossy or trying to sort of run the show a little bit too much, you might handle that person a little bit differently and just approach them by maybe saying, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, but why don't we just try to balance things out a little bit so that you're not overwhelmed and doing too much, because that would be unfair. And just diplomatically trying to rein that in a little bit, and maybe take over some of those pieces of work and spread it out a little bit more among the team. A final thing that you could talk about is maybe, communication. Communication is always a good one, and that you realized that a lot of the time the team was just not, was just not communicating enough, was not communicating effectively, and so you set up weekly or twice a week opportunity for everybody to sort of at least touch base really quickly, whether that's through email or a quick 10-minute team meeting, something like that. Okay, so those are examples that you can examples of things you can talk about in the team question. Now you want to end up by saying that, thanks to your efforts on this front, that over a number of weeks or a couple of months, the team was able to function a lot better, that people started to really, roll up their sleeves and enjoy what they were doing, and they all, now that their skills were better matched, they were doing a better job at their different assignments and tasks. And ultimately, you want to make the point that the team effort, whatever it is that the team was supposed to do or deliver, that went really well, that you guys were able to deliver a great presentation, or if it was about organizing an event, that the event came together beautifully in the end and everybody did a great job. So whatever team example you've picked, make sure you end with saying that the team effort was a success, that the team came together, and the team is greater than the sum of its parts. And this was a fabulous example of how, even though in the beginning there was a little bit of a struggle, your team was able to get their act together and accomplish a significant result.